Very excited. I think this is our 14th year, so very excited to be there. Of course, our hashtags, if you want to be following us and doing all kinds of your socialness, you can. My name is Luis Majano. I'm the CEO of Vortus. I'm a computer engineer by trade. I've been called many things, such as a documentation weirdo as well. And I'm also very pleased to welcome Ms. Milena Mayorga today, the ambassador of El Salvador to the US. She's been in office for more than 4 years, represents President Nayib Bukele and the people of El Salvador, so I'm really, really excited that you're here, so thank you very much. I want to thank all our sponsors, Computer Know-How, somewhere there, TerraTech, Media3, Foundio, and Lucid Solutions for helping us in another year. Thanking, of course, all of our speakers that are here from everywhere around the world. Our ITB committee, that Majo, doing an awesome job, everything. So very excited that you guys have done a great job. Like always, all of our recordings are going to be on CFCast. It's actually a new CFCast, so we actually launched a new platform. Eric is going to be talking about it tomorrow. But it's a new video learning platform, and all of the recordings are going to be there tomorrow. Just remember, at 6:30, we always have our traditional happy box. There might or might not be karaoke involved. And like always, we made it a tradition, since we're all developers and the majority of us are kind of awkward. We don't like to talk and socialize. We have the social minute. So this has been a tradition for 14 years now. So you have actually 60 seconds to socialize, introduce yourself, and lose the weirdness. So go ahead, please.
Hello.
I'm Ray Campbell.
My hat runs on BoxLang.
Oh, tighter?
I couldn't tell. You didn't advertise it at all.
Good morning again.
All right. All right, guys, don't tell your life stories. This is not a counseling session, okay? You can do that later. Well, 1 year ago, we kind of presented a story here, which we never knew that we were going to do, but we kind of did, and we developed a little video last year, so I wanted to show that to you. What we call the modular rebellion.
From one of the most trusted names in professional open source software, driven by experiences of developing hundreds of community products, innovative tooling solutions, and countless hours of developing and DevOps. Get ready for a new evolution. Driven by a desire to leverage today's JVM, to take your development to any runtime now and in the future. If you believe in new beginnings, if you want to be dynamic, modular, and productive with world-class support and freedom to scale, if you want to program in a language that evolves with you and with the times, as well as leveraging the awesome power of modern Java, you're one of us, starting now. A revolution will take place. BoxLang, dynamic, modular, productive. Revolutionize your development.
All right, so 1 year ago, we launched it in beta, and I'm happy to announce that we are in 1.0, but I've actually made a mistake and I had to release a patch yesterday. So
Well into our release cycle.
we're well into our release cycle by now. So very excited. Now we have our stable release. And with that, I just want to call on Milena for a few words from our ambassador to representing El Salvador.
Hello. Hello, hello.
Is it turned on?
It's ready?
Okay, okay. Hello. How are you? Good morning. I'm so proud and excited. It's so special for me to be here. You know, last time I saw Pio, Luis, he was in Miami. He was a student, me too. And now I'm an ambassador of El Salvador, and he's a CEO. So it's been a good time for us. Well, what's an incredible honor to be here with you all, celebrating a truly exciting milestone, the official launch of BoxLang, a dynamic new programming language created by the brilliant team at Orto Solutions, led by for the visionary founder CEO Luis Majano. I'm sorry, I cannot read. It's too dark. Luis, your journey is so inspiring and truly, thank you, reflects the transformation happening in El Salvador. You are a shining example of Salvadorian talent making waves on the global stage, and your success is paving the way for a new generation to dream big. Under President Nayib Bukele's leadership, El Salvador is experiencing a remarkable shift. We have moved beyond the limitations of the past to become a nation defined by resilience, ambition, and innovation. Our focus on attracting investment, advancing technology, and welcoming back our talented diaspora, as Luis, is creating opportunities for a lot of people in El Salvador, young students, and of course, all of you that you can go and invest in our country because our future is bright. Today, El Salvador is a land of possibility, a place where bold ideas are embraced, innovation thrives, and we're actively building a digital future. Boxlang is a proof of that vision coming to life. Just imagine Orto Solutions headquarters in El Salvador, alongside with other top companies drawn to our country by President Nayib Bukele's forward-thinking leadership. Boxlang is set to improve developers, businesses, and communities to build faster, smarter, and more secure software. The fact that it's being created by a Salvadorian company, led by a Salvadorian company, also sends a powerful message. El Salvador isn't just part of the digital revolution, we're helping lead it. A huge congratulations to the entire Orto Solutions team for this amazing achievement. Thank you for inviting me to share in this exciting moment as you kick on this new chapter. As you know, El Salvador also presents a new framework for all technology companies to come invest, develop solutions like this, and you will have all of this tax-free. So it's important that you can talk with my team and see how you can invest also in El Salvador and take advantage of the new laws. We're gonna launch a new robotic law, the new AI law. So President Bukele is leading and showing all the region what we can do together with the United States to achieve, of course, your goals and our goals. Now I'm gonna share some words in Spanish for our Salvadorian audience that we're gonna share this important moment. Yes, he's gonna translate later.
I'll try.
Hoy me encuentro sumamente emocionada de estar al lado del CEO Luis Majano en el lanzamiento de una solución en tecnología, Boxlang, y que va a venir a revolucionar, por supuesto, el mundo de la tecnología, pero también presenta una oportunidad para muchas compañías de mover sus headquarters a El Salvador, como lo han hecho ya grandes marcas de tecnología que están posicionándose en El Salvador para tomar las ventajas de lo que está presentando el gobierno de El Salvador para innovación, para desarrollo de tecnología, para creación y todo esto tax free. Para nosotros que un salvadoreño que haya tenido que irse de nuestra patria y desarrollar todo su talento y su mente brillante, vuelva a ver a El Salvador como un socio estratégico para el desarrollo de sus productos tecnológicos, es de gran satisfacción para el gobierno de El Salvador y lo felicitamos a seguir trabajando de la mano con nosotros.
Gracias. That was very long. So by word, she said, Boxlang is amazing. You need to use it. You need to go to El Salvador. You need to invest in El Salvador. No taxes. Thank you so much. All right, so very excited. Boxlang has landed. Like I said, 20 months. We never even knew if we would actually even achieve this. It has been a great work by the entire team that are here with me from Mortis. This really has been a passion project. Nobody has invested in us. We have done this on our own. So it's 20 months in the making. We've released 27 betas, 3 release candidates. We have an amazing 12,825 automated tests by this point. Over 50 related repositories of everything that we've built, so over 31 modules, over 20 contributors now, and the reality is that we have only just started. In our front for CFML compatibility, our CFML parser is almost there. You can see it's 99.9999% ready. There will always be a certain percentage that is there to be discovered. But the core BIFs and the core tags that we call components that we set out to build are complete. And of course, everything else that we don't have, well, I'm pretty sure that you guys will let us know. But this great project, we never knew that we could even do it. And now we haven't even done any performance tuning at this point, just a little bit. And this is the ColdBox test suites. So it's about 1,200 tests that are running. And you can see that we're about 25% faster than Lucy just on our test suites, 53% than ACF 2021, 47 for 2023, and 46 for 2025. So that's why we are stable now. We are doing very well, and the transition has really begun. And we have lots of community members already implementing and releasing in production, from Bill Norris saying that converting our in-house framework using nothing but Boxlang was a breeze. I'm impressed with how you've handled every detail. From Sean Corfield, which helped us at the beginning of the project, we migrated to Boxlang with minimal code changes, running on JDK 21. After being stuck on Lucy 4 and JDK 8, it's a game changer. Java interop is amazing. And Kai Koenig in New Zealand, Boxlang had better tooling support at day -60 than any CFML platform in 20 years. IDE, AST, debugger, small, modular, and JSR compatible. So this transition has really begun internally for us as well. We think that in about 4 to 8 weeks, we'll be completely running on Boxlang everything that we have. Migrations, we've tried to make them really easy as a drop-in replacement. If you're in command box, all you have to do is basically change the CF engine and change to JDK 21 and install the appropriate modules, and hopefully that's it. If you're in ColdBox and if you're using some of the Lucy or ACF providers, you just change to use the Boxlang provider, and that should be it. So hopefully this will be super easy. If not, of course, let us know. Now, apart from the compatibility, we also had the time to innovate. So I'll talk a little bit about some innovations and some of the things that are coming. The first innovation was multi-runtime. This was super important for us because we could not go where we wanted to go with the current state of how ColdFusion or CFML existed. So This project was designed from scratch. It was basically how can we reach today's world and the future? And that's why multi-runtime was so important. So we started designing the language for the operating system first. So it can run on a microchip. It can run the smallest way that Java could run. That's where we can run. And then we started creating all the different runtimes that we can scale and deploy to. And as you can see, we have many of them. But we're also working on more. So right now, we're working on Google Cloud Functions, Azure Functions, Apache OpenWhisk. We're actually integrating with GraalVM. So you're actually going to be able to execute JavaScript, Python, WebAssembly, and Ruby inside of Boxlang. We're going to be showcasing a little bit of our Electron runtime today as well, and JavaFX coming soon as well. Our first trial was try.boxlang.io. So we launched this with Gavin. Well, we created this with Gavin in about 4 hours in an afternoon. And it was so exciting when we saw it working for the first time. And it was basically our first production Boxlang application. It was the start of the Lambda runtimes. And we integrated as microservices with our mini server and Docker. Now we have the ability to do code sharing. You can link into Boxlang. You can embed Boxlang into your applications. We have a new error viewer. You have UI updates, keyboard shortcuts, and more coming. So we're very excited on that. We also saw the power of Lambdas. We actually execute on average about 28,000 Lambdas a day. They execute in about 38 milliseconds, extremely fast. So Lambdas can really scale and contract, and we've seen the power of the Lambda runtimes. I'm so excited to be able to have that now. So in Boxlang, we're going to be integrating with iframely pretty soon, so you can integrate it via iframes in other applications like Gitbook. We're actually working on code lessons, so you can actually do code lessons within Boxlang. Support multiple versions now that we have multiple versions. Of course, add the web runtime support so you can actually see some of the web runtimes, and VS Code integrations. The next innovation area we worked on was scheduling and task framework, which is something that has been a huge success for ColdBox, and it's now native to the language. And now you can write schedulers not only in Java, but also in Boxlang. You can use them in the CLI applications, web, runtimes, Lambdas. You can have the concept of global schedulers now. You can also have application schedulers now. Highly configurable. You can actually define them in your configuration. You can even attach them to a specific cache to provide distribution. And then we're also going to be able for you to actually inline your tasks as well. We integrated as well a lot of built-in functions and services to have interaction with these scheduling services. So you can start a new scheduler, you can restart it, you can shut it down, you can get the scheduler and interrogate it, get metrics on it. So lots of cool abilities that you never had before. And we're working on a lot more now that it's stable. So server fixation will work. You're going to be able to actually execute a task in an entire cluster of nodes, or on just a single node if you wanted to. Environment support to only execute in specific environments. Imports for Adobe and Lucy. Database-driven tasks and monitoring. The other area of innovation that's been going crazy, of course, today is AI. So we've developed the AI module called BxAI. And when I developed it, it was really important for me to be able to switch between providers very, very easy. I think that's where the power of what I saw in the AI module that we built. And that's what we did. We built an abstraction API so you can talk to any large language model and you can integrate it with it without basically moving your code or changing your code. That was the intent. And that's what we succeeded with. So you can see that you can have new features to build messages, to create AI real-time tooling that I'll show you a bit, compose chat requests, asynchronous requests, and much more. We integrated a few BIFs and services. As we see, we're not only including a lot of BIFs, we're including a small targeted amount of BIFs, but a lot of services and objects that you can interact with. So you can do simple chats, you can do asynchronous chats, you can do complex chat requests, you can build complex AI messages, and you can also now talk to specific implementations through AI services. And then, of course, AI tooling. And AI tooling is really something important, but I'll show you the synchronous chats here. Imagine if you sent a chat request, but you're not going to use the response until later. Well, now you can build asynchronous pipelines using our new box features that John's going to talk about today. And then tooling. So tooling is if you actually want the AI language model to actually interrogate your systems, to know about your data. So you can actually integrate the tooling message and register a closure or a Lambda. And that will basically give the data back into the AI model in real time and then compose the response. And all this is available now. And AI Plus is coming for our subscribers with more providers, schema converters automatically between Boxlang and
Good morning. When I was asked to whip up a demo of the AI stuff in Boxlang for the keynote, the first thought I had to myself was, this is a keynote thing. I have a few minutes. I need to show something that shows the power, serious, and is practical. Because when you want a serious, practical code demo, you come to Ray Camden. So with that in mind, I built Grumpy Cat as a service. Because I'm only using AI for the serious enterprise-ready application. So I apologize for the incredibly minimal UI. I'm not a great UI person, but this is Grumpy Cat as a service. And Grumpy Cat as a service wants to know what you like because it has an opinion on what you like. And we all know opinions are wonderful, right? So if I say, I love, oh, wow, different keyboard, sorry. I love, I am not typing much, I promise, Star Wars. Surely everybody loves Star Wars. It's going to think, it's going to do its processing, it's going to use a lot of power to create this serious response and come back with, it was working, right? It was working on my machine.
we might have consumed all our tokens.
Inconceivable. Let's see. Ah, there we go. Star Wars, really? That overhyped galaxy far, far away nonsense? Are you telling me you enjoy predictable story by acting a merchandise shoved down your throat? Yes, actually, yes, I do. So, can I get a volunteer who has a thick skin, who will tell me what they like, and before you say anything, hit that part of your brain that filters what you say? Anybody have a suggestion for something that they like? I know it's a rough year. You gotta like something. Valentine's Day. Oh, that's dangerous. All right, and you're also asking me to type a heck of a lot. I love, and of course I know how to spell Valentine's Day. Oh, wow. I'm going with it. Times Day. Let the AI make it better for me. It's going to tell me. Why are we having such bad luck? Watch this. I'll see. Let's try this one more time. Come on, no one's doing any serious stuff with AI. This should work. All right, I'm not going to stay on this. What I will say is that for this application, it's a rather simple application. The AI integration, the Boxlang part, took less time than this silly CSS animation. And I helped me write it. The code for this, play. On my application startup, I just made an instance of my AI service. This all comes from the module that was command line, so that was 5 seconds. I got my Google Gemini key to work with Google Gemini. That's the AI service that I prefer. But what's nice is that it doesn't matter. I could switch this out to something else later. So one line in my on application start, and then the entire logic behind the scenes, essentially, set up a system instruction that describes how my Grumpy Cat works, take in the user input, and then just get the response back. And I swear it does work 100% of the time when I'm not on stage. But again, AI integration, seconds to install the module, 3 or 4 lines of code, I spent more time on UI than I did on Gen AI, which is incredible.
I don't remember. I can't read. Okay. Check, check, check. 1, 2. I brought my shofar. That is the Boxlang logo, by the way, in case you didn't. There you go. Should all be clear to you now. If anyone wants to try playing it later, you have to have really tiny lips. Okay. So, Boxlang has a lot of enhancements and features. We talked about some of these a year ago in our release, and a lot of stuff has changed since then. Just want to do a quick overview. I'll breeze through this because I have an entire talk in like 2 hours or 1 hour from now, and I'll go deep dive into all the new stuff Boxlang does. But at its core, our Boxlang runtime is built very much like a framework. We have a whole collection of services for applications, asynchronous, cache, data source, functions, interceptors, modules, scheduling. We have a whole service layer available that powers Boxlang, but it's also available to your applications to be able to tap into. Call them our global services. You can actually extend Boxlang itself with modules, which is the same way we write our modules. You can register your own services, make them available to the application, and so you can build your own modules that are extending the very core parts of Boxlang very easily. The language itself is event-driven. If you're familiar with ColdBox or even CommandBox, you know our idea of interceptors that fire before or after things, allow you to modify or respond to them. We have the same thing going on in Boxlang. So you can listen to events like our example is on server scope creation. And our compatible module, or CFML compat module, listens to every time a server scope is created, so it can inject the ColdFusion or Lucy keys in for compatibility. So you have a whole lot of core control that you can add in through these interceptor announcements, which are very powerful. And we even have some new BIFs, box announce async, you can use in your code to announce these engine level interception points. The entire language we've built to be modern and dynamic. You may have heard us use those words a few dozen times today. It's a dynamically typed language, just like ColdFusion, but we've taken that even further. Our minimum version of Java is Java 21. We don't want to deal with legacy versions, with old things. We want to be able to use the latest and greatest features that Oracle or any of the OpenJDK Javas have. We support the GSAP 223 scripting interface, so that means you can run Boxlang code inside of any Java application or any JVM language. We based everything on Java's invoke dynamic feature, which is much more advanced and fast and powerful than the older reflection. Everything that happens behind the language, inferring types, automatically casting things, all of that is implemented. In the language itself, we've used all the modern features of Java, like parallel streams for fast processing and things like that, that we can. And also, a huge improvement since last year, especially thanks to Jacob, is our new direct-to-bytecode compilation. So instead of going to Java code and compiling that, we go straight to bytecode, and it's super fast and super performant. So there's been a lot of exciting changes since last year. Java interop, all this will be in my talk in like an hour, but we've added a whole lot of stuff we thought was missing in our favorite JVM languages to make it easier to integrate with Java libraries. We do that a lot at Ortus, so we want to be able to interact with Java naturally. You can extend Java classes, you can implement Java interfaces very easily. You can execute Java right inside of Boxlang and vice versa. You can import Java classes directly, you can access static members on Java, you can even alias the imports, you can interact with Java streams, you can pass Boxlang closures in directly as functional interfaces in Java. Behavior out of the box, null is a keyword, you can pass null variables in without being told it doesn't exist. We have a cast as operator to make easy inline casting. We have an instance of operator for a bit more natural checking without having to use the instance of BIF. And then we have annotations that look a lot more like what you see in Java code, just for better readability and expressive code. And features like the assert statement and multi-catch blocks. So I'll have demos of all those in like an hour, so I won't spend too much time right now. We have tons of functional wrappers because we love functional programming. There was a lot more to be explored there. You can wrap up BIFs, like the UCase BIF is being wrapped up with a double colon and passed in as a function itself. Can't do that in ColdFusion. You can do references to Java BIFs and pass them straight into higher order functions. And you even have some really cool things like the object and method invoker at the bottom, right? Just have .trim, and it calls that method on every object you pass in. That was a really cool idea Sean Corfield pointed out that Clojure does. So we've taken a lot of inspiration from other modern languages that have leaned into functional programming. And of course, my favorite thing is what we call the BLAST, the BoxLang abstract syntax tree. And this is what happens behind the scenes when we parse your code and we create a representation of every if statement, every variable set, every method call as an object hierarchy that then we can visit and we can analyze your code. So this is what unlocks the language server protocol that powers the IDE. When you open up VS Code and you have a code typo, it gets highlighted right away now that says you have a syntax error. And that's happening is we're parsing the file right then on the fly and bringing those parse errors back. This allows our transpiler to transpile ColdFusion code to Boxlang. It allows our IDE tooling to do code quality metrics, static analysis, even code formatting. There's so much power that's based on that, and we never had that capability before. So that was one of the huge building blocks of Boxlang. So I have a talk in like an hour that covers a whole bunch of that and more in depth. But for now, I give you to Mr. John Clausen to talk about Docker threading and modules.
Oh my.
Yes.
There are a lot of different things that are very exciting in this stretch, but one of the things that's most fundamental, especially right now in today's programming space, is having support. Did I just go backwards? I did. Oh man. That's me. I look very sinister in that photo. But talking about our Docker containers, one of the things that we started with first was the idea that we had to have multiple runtimes. And in that theme, we also had to make sure that we had Docker containers that could support those available runtimes. So currently, Boxlang has our standard command box containers, which most of you are familiar with. They support the server JSON, the CF config, all the rewrites, multi-server, everything that you're used to there. But in addition to that, to make sure that we had options for lightweight, fast execution, we also have our mini server container, which is a lightweight and fast Boxlang web engine. It starts very fast, it compiles very fast, and it's great for debugging, one-off commands, or maybe if you just need to run a small, lightweight application that isn't dependent on a lot of things like data sources, caches that you would have to manually configure. You can configure all those, but this gives you a lightweight option for that. And then the CLI, which one of the things that's never been a possibility or available to us in the CFML space is having non-web-oriented engines. And so the CLI containers give you the option to do one-off commands, run expressions, use it as a REPL, or just use it for scheduling and replace your cron jobs. So there's some great things with the Docker runtimes, and we'll continue to expand those. At some point in time, we're also going to be looking at moving command box to run on Boxlang, and when that happens, you're also going to see the improvement in the command box containers with their startups and their functionality as well. So let's talk about threading, because this is something I have been geeking out on after a conference that I attended a few years ago in Atlanta. There are some major threading improvements to Boxlang, and they're all due to the features of the JVM. The modern JVM, threading in CFML has kind of been subpar, right? That's kind of how we've been doing. How many of you have ever written a code, a CF thread code, and didn't specify a priority on it, and all of a sudden you wondered why that code had never executed, and then you went and looked in Fusion Reactor and saw that thread had never executed because it was all the threads were taking over and running their code. Well, one of the things that we've done in Boxlang is that we've introduced a new convention for virtual thread support. So virtual threads, were introduced in Java 19. They were introduced as a pre-release feature. And then in Java 21, they became available. Now, threading up to this point in CFML has all utilized platform threads. That means that you are limited by how many threads you can create on the machine by the number of processors. And so all of your threads are competing with the processor resources. What virtual threads do is they allow you to use a single carrier thread, a single operating system thread, and then virtualize that. So think of JavaScript, for example's asynchronicity. That type of virtual threading or asynchronicity has never been possible until Java 21. And so one of the things that we've introduced in Boxlang is the ability to run those async threads instead of operating system async, those threads then have no competition with any other process or resources, and they have no limitations. So we can have thousands, and we can have even millions. If you did a loop of 1 million lines and created a CF thread and then slept for 1 second, within probably at about 10,000, you're going to have a heap space error. Your server is just going to completely die. But with virtual threads, you're not limited by the available processor resources. So you can create 1 million virtual threads. They have no competition because they're all running in the same thread. They provide much greater throughput. They may or may not finish faster than platform threads, depending on the CPU resources that you're using in those threads. But generally, if you're doing things like making REST API calls to aggregate data or something along those lines, they're going to finish a lot faster because they don't have to acquire a brand new thread just to do their async work and then release it when they're done. And they're excellent for I/O operations, and you probably want to avoid them for CPU-intensive operations like heavy math or anything like that, but they are excellent for a lot of the uses that we currently have in CFML for threads. So how do you use them? Well, you do one thing. At the very end of the CF thread tag, equals true, and that will use a virtual thread instead of a standard thread. The rest of the API is exactly the same. Join it, use it however you want to. That alone is a game changer for anyone that does threaded application development. And we also have a new BIF that we've introduced, a built-in function called threadNew. It works exactly the same thing. It returns your thread object just like you're used to with CF thread, and you can just simply pass in a closure to it, put virtual equals true, and it will go ahead and create a brand new virtual thread for you. So in addition to the threading, we also have the power of the executors. And one of the great things that we've done is we've actually created, we understand that CPU-intensive tasks require platform threads, but I/O-based tasks are ideal for virtual threads, as we've created 2 types of executors. The I/O task executor, for example, will all be virtual unless you change it. The CPU tasks will all be platform threads and scheduled, and then you can use those executors to tap into the power of thread pooling, fixed, single, virtual, cached, schedules, and by default we get those 3 executor pools right out of the box when you start up BoxLang. The I/O tasks, which are virtual, CPU tasks, which are platform threads, they're scheduled, they're fixed, and then the scheduled tasks, which allow you to use those threads to create future tasks and schedule those. You can create more or modify them as needed, and the parallel tasks will use virtual threading by default. So these are some really, really cool enhancements. I would encourage you to play around with them because I think you're going to see a game changer. Just simply create a loop of 10,000 records or 1 million records and run it on a virtual thread and then do it on a platform thread. You'll see the difference right away. There's also the Box Future, which extends Java's completable future. This is something we've had to do much differently and has been much more cumbersome. As a matter of fact, Luis has developed like several modules over the years just to be able to handle creating and using futures in ColdBox. So it's not a half implementation we were used to. It uses async fluent pipelines. It's like threading on steroids. And it runs by default on the fork join pool, or you can attach it to any executor of your choice, including the I/O executor, which uses virtual threads. So they're great BIFs for async pipelines. You can do future new. You can use the standard run async you're used to, which will handle it and return a future. And you can also use the new attempt BIF. So those are some big advancements with asynchronicity in BoxLang. We have a bunch of new built-in functions that support those async operations. We've got the attempt, the future new, is in thread, interrupted, run async, thread interrupt, thread join, thread new. All these now support it, so you're no longer bound by the traditional component or what we used to call tag syntax. We also have the executors, executor get, has, list, new, executor shutdown, and executor status. So those are just some of the simple changes in async. And I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited to hear the community feedback when you start using them because I think you're going to be wowed off the bat. Now, as you know, BoxLang has been modular since birth. And in order we know modularity, right? We kind of like everything we've built is based on that. We understand the power behind and the implementation of modularity in frameworks, and now we've brought that to runtimes. So not only have we made it compatible modules for the traditional CFML behavior, we've innovated, and we've introduced new modules that aren't part of the functionality of current engines. So you no longer need to be a Java developer, and this is one of the great things, you no longer need to be a Java developer to influence the global functionality. And yesterday's workshop went into that in detail on how to do that and what that looks like. But for example, if you just simply go to GitHub into the Boxlang namespace and you look at the UI forms module, for example, that module is entirely written in Boxlang code. It's not written in Java at all, except for one interceptor. So Boxlang modules, because of the way they're written, because there's an absence of the need to have all this different boilerplate for different parts and how you represent this module to the engine, they're lighter, they're faster, and they're more purpose-driven than other engine executions. And you can create a module in minutes if you want to enhance your application with some of the conventions that we have right now, which is the Boxlang modules directory in your application, where you can actually create your own modules and ship them with your software. So not only have we matched the CFML engines, we've gone beyond that. We've got the standard modules that you're used to. We've added some new ones, YAML. We've got a Markdown module that's also been added. We've got some new ones, ColdBox, TestBox, and CommandBox modules that'll be companion Boxlang modules. We've got the standard JDBC. And then our next step is to innovate with the Plus and the Plus Plus modules. So right now, the Redis module is out there, currently in pre-release in a 0.1 release. And as we move to 1.0, that will become a Plus functionality with distributed caching, distributed locking. We also will develop the Couchbase, Mongo, Elastic, AI, PD, S3, different enterprise functionality that you're used to. So that's what we have out there right now. We've got things on the roadmap. But here's the thing. If you have functionality that you want to port an application to Boxlang and you're passionate about making that happen, we're always looking for folks who want to sponsor that functionality. There's certain modules that are going to require heavy lifting, right? CF chart, there's a lot of UI development. We're going to get Ray to work on the UI. So if you have functionality you can't live without, get in touch with us and become a module sponsor, because we continue to be a professional open source software company, and Boxlang's core runtime is going to be open source forever. So these modules will live on, and that ecosystem will benefit you and also others. So that's modules and threading and containers. Next up is Jacob to talk about tooling. And yes, he deserves a big round of applause.
All right, hello. So my name is Jacob, and I've been working on the tooling, specifically the VS Code extension, and a lot of the developer tools that hopefully you'll all be using quite a bit in the future. So I'm going to talk just a moment on some of those things, if I can go in the right direction. All right, so we, over the past year, we've been working on our VS Code extension, which is really just meant to bring all the tools that you guys know and love from other development environments and extensions into the Boxlang ecosystem. We're really trying to make it as modern as possible. So we're trying to focus on things like giving you the ability to see inline documentation, give you an inline web server that you can debug right from within VS Code. And then we also want you to have the ability to be able to run Boxlang code as quickly and easily as possible right from within the editor. Like I said, we've got a built-in debugger that you can use to run CLI scripts. You can use against the built-in web server, the mini server that's accessible straight from within the VS Code editor. And then you can also connect it directly to a command box server. Even if you've started that up outside of VS Code, you can point the Boxlang extension at that and then be able to debug whatever you're running in VS Code. And that actually works with both Boxlang and CF Code, as long as it's running in the Boxlang environment. We've gone ahead and built something called a language server. This implements Microsoft's LSP, which stands for Language Server Protocol. And that's the tool that is that gives you all of the syntax highlighting, rich features like auto-suggest, code actions, refactoring, diagnostics, things like that. And we're adding new features to that all the time. And one thing that I think is important to mention is that we are committed to ongoing support and development. This is something that we're going to be using internally, constantly, over the next few years as we continue to work on Boxlang. And like I said, it's definitely something that we want to make available to the community so that you all enjoy developing with Boxlang. So in recent months, we've been working on making it just a little bit more polished of an experience. You can see that we've added some styling and organization to our Boxlang view that also gives you quick access to things like community links, our Slack, our Jira boards, things like that. So anytime you have an issue, you have a very quick access to go file a ticket and let me know about it. Also, we've added deeper integration with some of the Boxlang tooling. If you've, I'm sure at some point this week, or if you were in the workshop yesterday, you'll hear about some of the Boxlang CLI tools that allow you to run a feature audit against your existing ColdFusion application, allow you to transpile the code, or even allow you to compile your Boxlang classes into bytecode. Well, these have actually been moved into VS Code so that you can run it using a Boxlang task. In addition to that, we also have the ability to run files just by right-clicking and saying run Boxlang file, and that will open up in your terminal and execute your Boxlang code, whatever it is. We've given you the ability to manage your Boxlang homes directly within the editor. This is really helpful because anytime that I am working with new technology and I get it installed, I have no idea where it is on my system usually. And it takes forever to figure out where the configuration files are, where the log files are, things like that. We have tried to solve that problem for you right off the bat. So if you open up VS Code, you'll be able to see your Boxlang home. And I'm going to draw your attention to these two icons right here. This one on the left clears your cached class files. So if you have any issues, you press that button, and you've started nice and clean. The one next to that, the open folder, just opens the Boxlang home wherever it is on your system. And so you can always find it. We also have, you can open up your config file to be able to update the configuration if you'd like to. We give you easy access to logs. If you open up that dropdown, you can see all of the log files and open them in VS Code. And then we have the ability to browse the modules and, again, open those folders in case you need to inspect them. Since we have released so many versions of Boxlang over the past few months, we went ahead and built in what are the beginnings of the version manager. So this allows you to just open up the command palette in VS Code, install whatever version of Boxlang you want, and then also switch between them. So if you want to be able to, every version of the VS Code extension actually ships with a version of Boxlang that it's pinned to, but you may want to work on a different version or try things out. So you could install one of them, switch to it, and then all of your scripts, the editor, the mini server, things like that will run at that version of Boxlang. So if you want to try out something new, give it a shot, you're welcome to do that. All right, so this is a new feature. We're not going to go into this too much right now, but I kind of wanted to use it as a plug for my talk later this afternoon. One thing that's been really important to us for all of Ortus products has been community engagement and extensibility, right? John just talked about modularity. And we're actually bringing that into the language server for Boxlang as well. So no longer do you have to learn how to write a VS Code extension in JavaScript or TypeScript and then deploy that through the marketplace. We're going to actually give you the ability to extend the language server and provide hints in VS Code by writing Boxlang and deploying it as a Boxlang module. So this is pretty exciting. We've launched a new documentation site that is available now that is solely dedicated to the IDE. And here you'll be able to go and dig into all of the different features, learn all of the hidden goodies that we have for you, and also troubleshoot any problems that you have. I'm actually really excited about this because I have never seen another extension that has as in-depth documentation as this. Usually the most you get is a README on their GitHub. Okay, this is a quick look at our roadmap. Like I said earlier, I've got a talk later today around noon. We're going to be shooting for a lot of things this next year, getting on a consistent release cycle now that we're going 1.0, regular blogs with tips and tricks, continued editor improvements, static analysis of our code, IntelliSense, and like I said, additional library or module integration to the language server. All right, and with that, I'm going to invite Esme up.
Hello? Is this on? Yeah? All right. Hi, guys. I'm here again in front of you guys. My favorite thing to do. But I have a great thing to show you that's in progress. As you saw, I think it was maybe last year we saw a mock-up of what we were thinking to do. But I'm delighted to tell you that the Boxlang admin is in progress now. So this is what we'll be working this year. Let me see. And I have, nope, that's not it. All right, so more than slides, I'm going to show you a little sneak peek of what we have going. Now, this is not completely functional because I said this is in progress, but now we have the Boxlang admin. And before I log in here, I tell you how we lift it off the ground. So right now, going back to the Keynote. So this is running, of course, Boxlang, with how we integrate ColdBox, CVWire, and Beat. And it also is running on the Boxlang mini server. And the beauty of it is it's not just a web-based, it's going to be on a desktop based using Electron. So it is going to be an Electron app. So why did we go decide this route? Mainly, one of our big things is security. So now it's more secure by your desktop. We do have, as you can see here, it's a login, but it'll be deactivated. But this could be, it will be, you could activate the login in the settings. All right, so here we go. And again, still like working on it. So our idea, as you can see here, so mainly to start out, you're gonna be able to edit the config from the UI. So we have all the sections, behavior, you have the scope, the class settings, the Java libraries, regional scope. You could have the cache. So the existing conditions here. You have you could edit the settings here, register new ones. So everything from the UI here. Also, is that my cue that we're out of time? So this is our base, right? Like I said, this is going to be our one-stop shop. So we're also going to you're going to be able to add more, configure more, because you could have more than one runtime on the machine, right? So you'll be able to add more and a la carte. So you register a new one, and you'll be able to edit all the configuration from here. And one more step that it's not even here is that our future is to also add remote access to. So you'll be able to also manage runtimes that are in other on other servers remotely. And obviously this will be free, but all Plus subscribers will have other features, like for example syncing to ForgeBox. You could have your runtimes there. We also have a feature that we want to do manage your command box servers from there also. That's another Plus feature, and that's still under development there. And we will also be able to sync up and update your Boxlang versions from here. So this is just a sneak peek. It's under progress, and stay tuned for more.
Thank you, Esme. See, you didn't pass out.
I almost did.
All right, so super excited. We're going to be releasing the Electron runtime after this as we figure things out with Electron. But hopefully you're going to be building your Electron apps with Boxlang. All right. I'm just curious if we can make Grumpy Cat.
I was going
One
to
more
add
time.
error handling, I promise.
One more time, just in case. All right, maybe not. He's too grumpy today. All right. So talk a little bit about where we're going so you guys can enjoy the day. We have a 5-year roadmap for Boxlang. Our first release obviously is today, this year. As you can see, every year we're going to have a major release. And then we're also doing LTS, or long-term support for every version for up to 2 years. Our release cycle is 1 major version per year. The train leaves the station every year with whatever features we have cooked up. And then 1 minor every last week of the month. Of course, patches a la carte. As you can see, we did our first patch yesterday. And security, of course, as soon as possible. A reminder that we are professional open source. This is free and available for anybody to use and learn and build their companies with. But we also offer the 2 commercial subscriptions, the Plus and the Plus Plus. No restrictions, no input on cores, SAS, how much money you make, multi-domains or RAMs. It doesn't matter. Fair, right? So with Plus, you get our professional support, all the enterprise modules that we're building, dedication to you with different channels of communication, priorities, and of course our cache connectors, and extends features with the Boxlang admin and some of our Plus modules. As well in the Plus Plus, you get obviously a lot more. Pricing is available now. You can see it all over the website for us. We definitely see about 70% savings if you're in other competitors as well, but everything is transparent. Now, there's more. 2 more announcements, just because we like announcements. So the first one is we're launching today learn.boxlang.io. This is a new video learning platform. You can go to it now, build in collaboration with Mastermind Eric here in the Salvadorian team. So really excited about this one. And right now, every series, every video, everything is free right now. So our idea is for people to learn, for people to adapt. It's basically based on CFCast, but it's exclusive for Boxlang. So now you can go and learn everything at learn.boxlang.io, which is our Boxlang Academy. And our second big announcement is now all our cloud servers are available for anybody that wants to deploy in the cloud. You have them on AWS, available now, on Azure, on Google Cloud, and our IBM Cloud. Everything at 25 cents per hour. So hopefully very attractive for people to start building their apps, and they're all professionally supported as well. So with that, those are our last 2 announcements. Chuck Norris always says thank you, and you can start your day and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you for being here. Thanks.